What's up, Jaylen? How we doing, brother?
What's going on, man?
Alrighty. Sorry, I was making. I'm sorry. For those out there, we got a little delayed. I was a little late sending the link to Jaylen, and also just sending out last few updates, little reminders for people out there. Make sure everybody can catch us. Who wants to catch us, of course. Oh, I will get to that in a minute. So, I guess yeah, I'll give you a minute, Jaylen. Yeah, you need a
Okay.
minute to get ready.
Yeah, I'm just getting some water.
All right, going ahead. I guess I'll go ahead and do the intro. Hello, 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 everyone out there. This is Talk of the Ages, episode 3. This is going to be interesting because in this, we finished off last week. We were getting, and it always happens that way. When we get towards the end of the show, we have a lot of different, a lot of different things that we want to get to all of a sudden, and all of a sudden that's when everything comes fresh to our mind. All the things that we really want to go into. This episode, as you can see, I didn't really give much of a title because Jaylen is going to be putting moi, on the hot seat. So, that is what we're gonna go into. Jaylen is grabbing him a drink real quick. And in the meantime, for everyone coming in, how are you all doing? I'm trying to give a couple more minutes, let people get in here because I know this is on this channel. Some of the notifications go out a little bit later. People have a little bit of hard time, always catching up with this. With my different changing times, and also the first 2 episodes we have been on Monday, and now I'm just trying it out on Sundays to see how this works. I have a couple of different topics that are in mind. I figure we'll probably start off this show, as far as what I can think of on the pop culture, which we normally wait till the end. A lot of things going on out there, pop culture. For those who didn't catch my live stream, the Political Matrix, I understand. Halloween, shout out to Misha. He let me know that he wasn't going to be able to make it, and so I appreciate that. But hope you guys all had a safe Halloween out there. And let's see, and of course, whoever missed it, it is still up. Fingers crossed it stays up. So you guys can always check it out on my other channel, the Political Matrix. I guess in pop culture, I'm not sure if I did. Jaylen, did I do my Let me try to remember how I titled the video. Um, what was it called? Oh, trans woman Blair White comes to Dave Chappelle's defense. Did I do that one after? Oh, I did do that one after our last show, so we haven't had the time to talk about that one. I figured that's we can get into that. I don't know if you saw that one or not, and I'm not sure in the crowd who got the chance to see it yet. Um,
Mhm.
I will probably link it. Oh, sure, Thomas. He said just got home. We'll stay tuned. Be right back. All right, cool, cool. We always kind of do a little bit of slow build up, and then we get into the topics as we get going. But I don't know if you got to see. Have you seen it yet, Jay? If you're there, but I am probably going to go back in and put the link in the description for that one, so you guys can go and check it out. I am also just finishing up. Well, finish up all the filming that I need for my video talking about tides. Um, I am almost done with that one, and once I finish the editing, I don't know, it probably might drop tomorrow. I doubt I'm going to do a lot of editing and messing around with that tonight, because I got to go back in and add the scriptures on the screen, which I read out to make my points. So yeah, I will. I'll do that and link that later. For Caitlin out there, I hopefully that this will give you some of those scriptures which you were looking for to explain some of those points. I know it talks about. I know the title sounds like tides, things like that. Trust me, I have some entertaining videos in there. Also, a couple of clips of some what I call some of the jankiest preachers ever. I literally have one video in there where one of the pastors is tossing out money to kids like he's at a strip club. Uh, and of course, I don't know if you guys have seen it, the Creflo Dollar Notorious video where he's running around on the money, and then I got the Pat Roberts video in there when he gets ambushed by the Inside Edition reporter, asking him about his plane and being on, what does he say? He doesn't want to be on a tin can full of demons or something like that. So I got some interesting clips. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Ooh, ooh. Which one? Oh, shoot. He backed out of that one, and I accidentally kicked him out of the other one, so he'll hop back in here. I guess he was trying to figure out which link that he was going to come in on. So I'm sure Jay will come back in shortly. What else did I have that I missed out on? Oh, yeah, pop culture wise. Oh, there he is. I one of the first pop culture stories that I'll. Unless you want to, do you want to start with the pop culture, or did you have your question ready to fire at me?
I mean, we can get into a little bit just so we can warm it up a little bit before it gets a little crazy.
Yeah, because I figure, and I got to make sure to try to stay at a hard line, stay at 2 hours for tonight. That way,
Okay.
I get myself up at a good time. Um, the Ice Cube news. Did you hear about that?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
About Ice Cube. Did you hear about the Ice Cube news?
No, I didn't actually.
Well, apparently, Ice Cube just passed up a 9 million.
Oh, yes, I did see that. Okay.
Yes, he said he is. He basically took the Kyrie Irving stance. Well, actually, he went a little further than Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving. His stance is, I'm not telling you my back status. You don't need to know. So he's not confirming nor denying what he if he's gotten it or he hasn't gotten it. More likely, I would say he probably hasn't gotten it because you wouldn't make that statement and lose out on what is it like 338,000 per game
Mm-hmm.
if you actually had already taken it. So I imagine that he did not get the shot, and he's still holding his ground as far as I know. But Ice Cube just turned down a cold 9 million because he said he is not getting vaccinated. What's some of your thoughts on that, Jaylen?
Um, it's interesting. Let's see if he actually stands up for it, because a lot of people don't take a stand. They're controlled opposition. It seems like they go against it to flip sides eventually at some point. So we'll see if we'll have more people or celebrities start taking a stand against it. It seems like it's only going to be the black ones.
Well, I got right as soon as you said that. What is his name? What is it? Djokovic, tennis player who just won the what was it, the French Open or U.S. Open? I can't remember which one he won,
Yeah.
but he's like one of the top tennis players in the world, like the number one overall, and he's just said no, I'm not
Mm.
next. I'm willing to sit out of the tournament as a whole for and I'm not getting vaccinated.
Oh wow.
So, I don't know how the people in the audience feel about that,
I'm
but
surprised they're not making more an example of him.
well, I mean, that's the thing about tennis and like sports like golf. it's kind of more like a entry. You qualify at a certain level, and then you decide on your own if you're going to enter this tournament or not. So they can't actually apply any financial pressure, which they can on the NBA or NFL or some of those other players. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like Ice Cube, I mean, granted, Kyrie is passing up 338 per game, and eventually it can get up to that 9 or 10 million or more level. But Ice Cube just flat off the bat just said, "No,
No.
miss me on that. I don't need your money." And so it's also another thing is we don't know what Kyrie's finances are looking like. I mean, Kyrie's finances could be a lot deeper than what we understand. So I
I think
understand.
he'll be fine because at the same time, he's not out here complaining or saying the NBA is wrong. So he must be aware of the consequences that come with him deciding not to get the vaccine, or if he did, we don't know. But he realizes the what's going on, variant. But I think he decided to go through with it because even though he's aware of his consequences, he has to stand for something. It seems like. So I will say I'm sure he's being able to financially support himself if he's aware of these consequences.
Well, I also believe that I don't know how this will work as far as like if it gets to that point where he just says, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna retire, and then find another league to play in because I'm pretty sure there's
Hmm.
some countries which are against the vax, which are willing to throw tons of money at him. So
You know what's funny? If Brooklyn didn't move, I mean, if Brooklyn didn't move from New Jersey, this wouldn't even be a problem right now.
Well, here's the interesting thing about it, and I'm glad you brought that point up. This is not necessarily on the team directly. This is a
Hmm.
state thing. And here's the weird thing about it. You have players who are unvaxxed on other teams who can come in and play there, but because and not be vaxxed, but because they are residents and because they're not residents, it's almost like some kind of pass they're getting. Whereas
Hmm.
because Kyrie is a resident to that state, he's subject to that state's laws.
Kyrie better move to New Jersey. It's just across the bridge.
Yeah, but even as an employee to that state,
Hmm.
that's why you're still held to those standards.
Of
So
course.
if he was, say, I can't remember which player it was, but another player literally came in from another town, went there to play, the Nets, and he's unvaccinated. He had his whatever testing that he does, and I wanted to variant said sleepy but dropping into the show. I understand. Had a long
Mhm.
day. I woke up a little early, so if I yawn a little bit, ignore it. I'm gonna push
Mhm.
through. Be a soldier. Speaking of that, sorry, but uh, let's see. Variant says, "This is a great thing you guys are doing. Hope Jaylen can help bring attention to these issues and wake up more of the youth." I mean, I hope so. I like to think that Jaylen is probably more of a diamond in the rough, and I'm talking about his peers are the rough. There's only a handful of them out there who look at things that are more than themselves, especially at his age. I mean, at his age, I was one of those gun ho patriotic types, which was like, I'm willing to put my life on the line so that others back home don't have to. Even though I was misguided, that was my push, my angst. Whereas a lot of people I went to the military with, theirs was strictly on college money, and I just want to travel, and I don't really know exactly what I want to do with myself, so I'll go to the military till I can figure it out. So I applaud the people who have developed this young man into the man that he is. So literally, hats off to y'all out there, to your pappy, to your grandpappy, to your uncles. He the daddy. all of them out there, they did a good job with you. Um,
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
I also noticed something interesting while we're talking about a little bit of pop culture and COVID. John Bon Jovi. Are you familiar with him?
Yes. I'm not familiar with all of his songs, but I've heard a few of them.
Yes. I mostly remember him for what was it, like the Young Guns soundtrack
Hmm.
movie that I loved back in the day.
I'm
And
familiar with him on a Kanye album, man.
yeah, he literally did the music for Young Guns, the first one.
Hmm.
Starring, what was it? Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen, Lou Diamond Phillips, Kiefer Sullivan, and a host of other, Paramount actors. Like I just literally found out. Um, I've been rewatching Prison Break,
Hmm.
and have you ever watched Prison Break?
No.
It's this character on there, goes by the name of Teabags, Theodore Bagwell, and this dude is like I give him credit. He's an amazing actor.
Hmm.
But he played in Young Guns. I didn't even realize he was one of the people back there. Whew, sorry. It has so many just, people who, some of them were virtually nobodies at the time, who now you look up and it's like, oh crap, there's this person. There's that person. And I noticed that more and more as I watch some of these older movies. I see
Hmm.
people I didn't realize, oh shit, this person was in that movie. Like one of the prison guards who's in there, one of the main characters, Bellic. He's the captain who's over at Fox River Prison. I apologize to anybody who enjoys this movie or thought it was good. I mean, we were like basically fast forward through it and only got about maybe 20 minutes through because it was so terrible. But Candyman 3.
Wait, is that the new?
No, 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 no. The new one is like the fourth one.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about
No,
the
this
new
is
one.
the old one with Tony Todd. And
Oh,
I mean, now granted, don't get me wrong. I love Tony Todd. And without Tony Todd, none of the Candymans would be nothing. He was amazing in that role. But that third one, it's kind of like one of those things where you squeeze a lemon just a little bit too many times, and it's just nothing left. I mean, he does a good job, but hey, fuck it, throw caution to the wind. I'm just gonna just rip this movie up.
what?
Um, they literally throw in like some basically I don't know for the director maybe this was eye candy for him, but basically some almost like B-rated chicks who made their career out of like what we call soft porn. That's what he looked like he threw into this movie. I mean, gratuitous nudity. I mean, in the first probably 20 minutes, it's about like three or four naked blondes. And that's pretty much, I guess that was the recipe for this movie. Tony Todd, and then throw in, blondes being naked every 5 minutes and think that that was going to carry the movie. The storyline was weak. Acting was weak. I guess we lost Jaylen. He'll hop back in here in a moment. I guess he's been having a little bit of trouble with his signal lately. But the movie was atrocious. Anyway, I got off my original point. Bellic, who's in Prison Break, who plays that captain, literally plays one of the detectives in that movie. And I just think it was just entertaining how you catch some of these people that you don't even realize are in these movies. That they got a little part, here and there, maybe in a movie that you've seen before or haven't seen before. But that long end around, which I did to get back to my original point, was uh, John, Bon Jovi. According now, since they've been changing the definition of what's vaccinated and what's not vaccinated and what's fully vaccinated and what's unfully vaccinated, I'm not exactly sure. The article stated that he is fully vaccinated and he has just been confirmed to have COVID. So that's pretty interesting. I guess I'll leave it there without getting too controversial because I know on the COVID news, it's so easy to get yourself in so many problems, and it's sad that's the way it is. But right now, the way YouTube is, you can't question anything. I mean, it's kind of ironic to me that people who would have let's say, was running from censorship and oppression in another land would generations later become some of the biggest oppressive, censoring people there is. It's just the irony that goes with that. Just like what's going on in Israel, the same kind of apartheid treatment which Jewish people received in Germany is some of the same kind of apartheid treatment which they are doing. Now I'm talking about early stages. I'm not talking about concentration camps and stuff. I'm just talking about the separation of the masses, that was going on, the second class citizenship that was put upon some of these people. Because what a lot of people don't think about or realize is it didn't start off at all of a sudden just jump into concentration camps. It started with taking away of freedoms and having a bifurcated society. So some people who were in the military were told that they could no longer be in the military if they had this much Jewish DNA or ancestry or whatever. There were taxes that were exacted on only certain groups of people. There were loss of medical privileges and things like that. And it just escalated and escalated and escalated. Kind of like what I believe and see is kind of going on with some things now. Um, when fascism or censorship comes, it normally just doesn't come all of a sudden and they throw everything, the whole kitchen sink at you. It normally just inches a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit more, until you look back a couple of years from now and you realize, wait a minute, we're such in a different place than I thought we would even be. I mean, I remember when Trump was in office, a lot of people were, I'm not taking Trump's, vaccine. Then it was, well, now Trump's not in, so I'll take the vaccine. But I'm a little skeptical. Then it was some people, well, I'll take it now that sorry, now that I can trust the Biden administration. So yeah, I'll take it now. And a lot of people felt like, oh, well, once the vaccine comes, we'll just take the vaccine, and then it'll be all good. Everything's going to be over with after the vaccine comes out. Now it's, well, vaccine and a second dose. Now it's vaccine and a booster. Now it's vaccine and a booster and then another booster. And then, like, now, YouTube, I want to declare this jokingly. Yeah, come try that again, Jaylen, and come back in. Um, I want to be careful with the way I say this. I made the joke. I said, in a couple of years, it's literally going to be like, you got to come in for your COVID shot like every 2 weeks, and that's almost what it seems like. Kelly says, happy Halloween, y'all. I'm doing some work, but I'll be listening in the background. Yes, happy Halloween to those who celebrate Halloween. I do not, but I don't force my views on anybody else who decides to do it. And I hope you guys are all having fun and being safe out there during that Halloween. Varian says, hey girl, happy Halloween back to you. But I just look at, following the money. Varian said, like Chris said, uh, they'll need their constant uploads. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me how before the pandemic, was even a thought, um, one of the biggest news stories was following the Sackler family, and if they were going to have to pay for all the stuff that went on during the opioid crisis. Now, all of a sudden, we just trust everything. I mean, I don't even hear Bernie Sanders ever criticizing Big Pharma again. Um, I remember before he used to trash Senator Max Baucus. Woo! Sorry. He was trashing Baucus, which, for those who don't know, is like literally one of the most corrupt um, politicians when it comes to the pharmaceutical and healthcare industry. Got my brother Atrez out there. How we doing? Hopefully, all is good. Let's see. Till Jaylen comes back, I guess I'll go into some of the stuff that I've been looking in today. Um, I noticed that we got a little bit of a shout out to our channel, which I appreciate from make sure I say his title correctly because I always mess it up. Independent Left News and Leftist Today gave us a shout out for our download, not our download. Sorry, reading the chat at the same time for our live stream the other night. For those out there, also, if you do have contact with what's his name, what's her name, Dr. Cynthia McKinney, yeah, holler at her, tell her that we would love to talk to her, have a conversation. If our live stream time is not a good time, then we can try to work it out for another time, which is more convenient for her. But I would love to get her on and talk about it. Let's see, what do we have? Rumor on Twitter is saying Biden pooped in his diaper while meeting with the Pope today. I wouldn't be surprised. The only thing which bothers me is that there's nobody who's willing to really stick their neck out there to like give us some evidence, give us, I mean, it's not like he's going to lose any extra votes because he pooped in his diaper. He maybe should, but I mean, let's tell somebody to just get that evidence. Get that evidence. Get it out there. Variant says she's ready for y'all. Yeah, I'm ready to get her on here and work it out whenever it works convenient for her. I mean, granted that I do work a 9 to 5. Well, actually, technically it's a 8 to 5, California time. But I definitely would love to have a conversation with her. There's so much stuff that I've been wanting to talk to her about. Variant also says, what a freaking joke. That guy, yeah, he's our president, and it's embarrassing. But let's be honest. Why is he our president? He's our president for 3 reasons. No, you didn't miss Jaylen. I guess he was just having a problem with connections, and so he dropped out for a moment, and he's going to try to come back in. I'm just blabbing my mouth, talking about a couple of things that have been on my mind. In the meantime, till he comes back, a big part of the show, well, we're going to talk some pop culture, which we talked a little bit about that, and talking about a couple of things which I've noticed, and then Jay is going to put me on the hot seat, so he didn't give me any forewarning of what questions he's going to ask. So it's all going to be up in the air, and I will let him surprise me. I mean, if he has too much trouble with getting in here, then I'll probably just run this for probably run it for another half an hour more. Just do about an hour live stream. That should be good. And then we'll try to link up to get him on another time. That way we can get this show done, or else maybe figure out another time to make it probably a marathon show. But that I did. Yeah, just talking about a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Yes, independent left news and leftist today. For those who aren't following him, please check him out. I know that there's a little bit of a problem schedule wise because he goes live at the same time that we do. But you guys can always catch him in the tune in for us. But go and check him out, and throwing his content the next day. Um, he does a good job also highlighting other channels and good streams when they have good stream. Granted, every show that every channel makes is every stream is not necessarily going to be a great one, but some streams are better than others. Some have more information. Some might be a little bit more entertaining at times. I felt like ours last night was a little bit educational and a little entertaining. So he definitely enjoyed it. Gave a shout out to not only myself, but he gave a shout out to the rest of the whole team also. Uh, I see we got those issues worked out, sir.
Oh my! It kicked me out. It said that my mic and camera will not be able to be used. I had to reset everything.
It did that. It's doing that with me now. Whenever I use this tablet, it's not allowing me to use my mic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm trying to. And it's weird. I've used my mic, probably 3 or 4 times with this tablet. Then all of a sudden now it doesn't support external mic anymore. So I'm like, what the fuck is that about? Oh, I don't know if you caught what I was saying. John Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
um, fully vaccinated, and I'm not sure since the definition of fully vaccinated has changed or is in the process of changing, or I
Well,
don't
I
really know.
guess so, because they giving out fourth and fifth shot. They mixing COVID like Halloween candy. They mixing vaccine shots like Halloween candy.
I mean, yeah, it's getting ridiculous,
I
and
think
so
that's probably the craziest part to me. Not even just that they're forcing the issue with the vaccine so much. It's just how they're saying, oh, you can get if you got the Pfizer, you got two shots, you got your first and second, you can get a booster from Johnson and Johnson. So I'm gonna mix all these different things from all these different companies, and it's just like, I mean, hey, it's just for instance, they test these experiments on animals and all these different things, and they end up dying in the lab. But the
yeah,
one, but the ones
that
that survive is the ones that they give to us. So I mean, we're all just testing out an experiment.
that's something crazy that I can't remember which scientist. Yeah, yeah, it's just Dexter's laboratory. Yeah, I mean,
Word.
I can't remember what this guy's position is, but he's within the Biden administration, and he literally came out and said, "Well, we're not going to know what the side effects are on kids until we start giving it to them. So we just need to start giving it to them, and see how that goes." And I'm like, what is going on in this reality? Um, we literally can go to the WHO's website and it'll tell you your mortality rate. Yo, got Anthony in the house.
What's going on, Anthony?
It literally will tell you your mortality rate by age. Now, it's been said. Now, I'm trying to be careful with it because we're not a large channel. Jimmy Dore can get away with saying all the exact same shit that I will say, but for some reason, our video gets yanked down, and I know why. We're smaller, we're less on the radar, and also, black content creators, they can shit on us all day long, and it's no difference than what goes on in the criminal justice system, or what goes on with police, or goes on with banking and redlining. So yes, am I inferring that YouTube might be a little racist? Yeah, yes, I am. So that's that. Uh,
Changing the definition will also change the statistics for unvaccinated hospitalizations and unvaccinated deaths.
hmm
Well, correct. And they were doing this way back in 2020. And how about the kids myocarditis? This is nuts. I can't believe parents are giving. Yep. And I think they just approved the vaccine for children 5 to 10 years old.
Five to 11,
Oh, 5 to 11. See,
and they're
oh,
working on what is it, 12 to 17 as the next phase.
well, out of everybody in the crowd and out of the host, I'm probably the closest to that age range than anybody else. So I can even say around when I was a kid, I got the normal shots that you usually get, but I didn't even really get a flu shot growing up. A few kids.
But here's something. Let me blow your mind real quick. Do you know that many countries do not require the same vaccinations that we require to start school? That they're optional in many countries.
I remember the Tdap shot whenever we got into middle school, actually, and we had to get a shot in the arm, and I got it in 5th grade before I started middle school. And the crazy, good point, Anthony. But
Hmm.
what I remember is my arm hurt for a few days, and it wasn't regular pain. It felt like someone had put something in my arm, like my arm was just dead, and it felt so heavy. It was very painful. And I'm
Yeah,
like, damn, they giving this to
I'm,
people?
I'm talking about they weren't even what was it? Measles, mumps, rubella. Like that is optional in other countries, like, whereas it's mandatory in the states. It's been mandatory for God knows how long, but it is
I
literally
remember when
optional in a lot of
I
areas.
Marcus, I remember just like 2 short years ago when anti-vax wasn't looked at as, oh, you're a criminal. It was anti-vax. They still looked at them like idiots. But I mean, if you go against anything, you're deemed an idiot. Not a zombie, you're an idiot. The
Yeah,
CIA.
I'll read this one, but I will not comment back to it as much as I want to. Atre says the CIA is planning a coup
In
Cuba
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 on
on
November 15th.
November 15th, and they are open in Cuba because they will reach 92% vax right their homegrown vaxes. Yeah, they don't like other countries who want to come up with their own vaccinations. I've heard a lot of countries in Africa are taking these different vax that have came into the country and they're reverse engineering them and trying to come up with their own because of the patent
Well,
protection that's been going on.
well, when there was no treatment or there was no help for anyone, it was funny because Cuba wasn't having a hard time. Their doctors were getting called for help in other countries, but people just forgot about that. And that
Yep.
wasn't that long ago, people. That was only a few months ago, a year from March. We're not that far removed from March. We're
Mm.
7 months away. So a
Yeah,
year and 7 months.
Jessica says, yeah, a lot of children are getting the vaccine. And the reason why they're getting the vaccine is because they're basically being forced to get it. They say they're not forcing you, but if you want to go to a lot of these schools, you don't have a choice. Um, Even here, in almost every state, there are religious or personal exemptions. They're not like out here in California they're not accepting your religious exemptions unless you like got a really good like lawyer or a doctor who's really sticking up for you. Um, for instance, Kaiser and a lot of the hospitals out here are saying medical exemptions or no, you're not getting medical or religious exemptions to get out of this. But the schools lie and pressure saying the kids must be vaccinated with the other vaccine and the recommendation schedule. Exactly, and people I talked about last night with Noam Chomsky, and he was saying how well, you had to have all the vaccinations to be able to go to school. And I'm like, yeah, how much research is on these? Quit playing this fucking game, no. You know that they still won't know how you can't know side effects on something. You can't know side effects will happen 10 years from now on something that hasn't been out but only a couple of years. I mean, because you guys know who grew up watching, a little bit of regular TV late at night. what do you see most of the time? If you have these symptoms, please call the law firm of blah, 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 and we can get you paid. Because even with all this research and they say it's safe, you don't know what the hell is going to happen 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. I mean, at one point in time, they were like, oh, it's perfectly fine to, have lead paint everywhere. Then they found out lead paint was getting people sick, and then that was the issue. At one point in time, the Surgeon General said cigarettes aren't harmful. Secondhand smoke is not harmful. And now they're having to admit all that stuff. They put asbestos in damn near everything. And asbestos, that's not harmful. Now it is harmful. You, you guys' word, as far as the federal government, is not solid because you'll get a whole group of people to agree with you when you start following the money and you notice the revolving door between Pfizer and the FDA. And also, on FDA's website, they will tell you 55% of their funding comes from the federal government. So what that tells you is 45% of it doesn't. Where is this 45% coming from? That's a question which people don't want to go into. Let's see. I wanted to read Thomas's comment also. Where did that go? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, wait a minute. I skipped it a little bit. Said my kids had COVID. All they had was a runny nose. They don't need the shot. I hope the schools don't require it soon. I don't know the side effects on kids. Yes, none of us do. I believe it was Denmark where for the Moderna one specifically, and in other countries have denied various, whether it was Johnson and Johnson or the other ones for different reasons. But you know, there still is the issue of myocarditis out there, and that's literally on the FDA's website. Now they might say it's rare. They might say, "Oh, this isn't, this is something that it's a very very small percentage." But look at your mortality rate and look at the percentage of chance which you have to. Where I mean, I won't. I'll be careful how I say this. Um, you have to look at what the mortality rate is for yourself and look at your own personal health. Are you immune compromised? Are you elderly? Are you X? Y? Whatever it is, figure that out and you make that decision. But when the government is literally just telling us, no, you just need to take it, you just need to take it, when more and more studies are coming out that it doesn't stop you from transmitting the virus, and that doesn't make any sense to force people to take something which does not stop the spread by their own admission. What is it? Andy Slavic, all right, I hope I'm saying that right, of the Biden administration literally said everybody is going to get COVID anyway. There's no way to get around it. Everybody's
Yep.
getting it. There's, I mean, and then what happened to when the pandemic first started? Some people were asymptomatic, right? Now, I guess there's not a thing as asymptomatic anymore. And then you have Fauci, where he says one thing one moment, says something else the other moment, then comes back, well, I lied about this for this reason. Well, you keep changing your story so much, and you're the go-to guy on this shit. Then how can you fault any of us for having doubts and questions about what the hell we should or shouldn't do? And then we're looking at all this money floating around with Pfizer. I mean, it's not a good look if you're trying to instill confidence and trust in people. And Fauci himself talked about consistency when he has been everything but fucking consistent.
And this
Uh,
is before my time. He's been inconsistent since your day, since you guys were kids. He's got a long track record.
Long track record.
Long. His
Yeah,
track record is long as someone's rap sheet.
yes. Here, I guess I'll read some of these comments. Side fact: let me put it on the screen. Xeno Warrior Princess always wore an upper armband to cover her polio vaccination because the producers wanted to keep it real. LOL. Wow. Um,
Oh wow.
The U.S. establishment is trying to block the Chinese vac to third world countries where their poor and sick may need it. U.S. big pharma wants to dictate world vaccines. The shit that Pfizer is doing right now, Pfizer has literally made contract with certain governments that they can take your military equipment. They can take over bases. They are doing some off the wall crazy shit with some of these countries. Brazil being one of them. Brazil, I believe Chile, and I think Venezuela. Let's see. Kids don't have control over their body anyway. Yeah, at this point now, none of us get to have control over our bodies anymore. It's whatever some person, well, I say some executive has decided for us to have to deal with. Um, Atra says facts. No corporate doctors like Kaiser can give out the exemptions or they will be fired. That makes sense why all the Kaiser and my insurance is through Kaiser. So I'm pretty much hosed on that front because I'm dealing with what I consider a very biased actor. Um, I read somewhere that the vaccine will lower children's IQ 8 to 10 points, and we all know the psychosis can show up in the 20s. Well, since I don't have any studies to verify that at the moment, I'll just put that as that's what we're hearing. YouTube disclaimer: we are not spreading medical misinformation. We are not saying that that's what's going to happen. We don't know. We're just saying this is a comment which somebody has just told us, which they have heard. All we're doing is reading it out. We are not telling people this is fact. So, sorry I have to do that disclaimer, Kelly, but they have been on our bumpers, and it almost feels like they just are begging for us to say something the wrong way so that they can't take us down. What was it? Yeah, I won't say that
He
one.
said that psychosis. Kelly said that psychosis. We know that psychosis shows up in the 20s, and that the vaccine may or may not lower IQ points in children by 2 or 3 points.
So that I mean,
What are your thoughts
my
on that, Marcus?
my point is, hold on one second.
Well, for me, oh, okay, you're back.
No,
Yeah,
go ahead,
so
go
tell
ahead.
me what are your some of your. Oh, okay, so for me, my thoughts on that, whether it is true or may not true, YouTube, I would say maybe it does not lower IQ points because I don't think that's something we can really measure. Because what is the metric system of an IQ test? But I mean, if it's decreasing some type of brain function, if that's what that's trying to say in layman terms, is going to decrease brain function, then maybe that should be something we can consider to research within the next few years, or a few 20, 15 years down the line, we can start to look at what the numbers of people who are vaccinated. So I think that may be something we can pay attention to.
We'll read this with Kelly. Kelly says, and then variant has one that kind of lines up with it. It says emergency use authorization just means that you can't sue big pharma when things go wrong down the road. Also, under first, I believe under the Trump administration, they had signed something, and then Biden followed up and signed renewed that same kind of immunity clause. Yes, we can't sue pharma anywhere. There's a special vaccine court, and when people are compensated for their family injuries, the taxpayers are really paying for it. So pharma never really pays. Yeah, pharma didn't even pay for any of the research and development on this. We paid for it out of our taxes. That's what happens. I mean, just in general with every medication or drug that comes out, what normally happens
Hmm.
is our tax dollars pay the funding on these things. Then once they decide to create a patent, some company buys the patent on it, and then they sell it back to us for 2 to 3 to sometimes 10 times the amount. So that's just kind of what the pharmaceutical industry has done. That's the reason why um, what is it called? For diabetics that they need insulin. That's the reason why insulin is so much more expensive here than it is in Canada or Mexico.
And you know what's another thing that's super interesting? I'd love to bring this up. You know, in Florida down here in the last election, they had a bill if you wanted to vote for minimum wage to 15 or against it. And at first I was all for it. I was like, okay, $15. Then I did more research and then I came to the realization that, and I think you
Be
mentioned
right
this
back.
on a, okay. So I think Marcus had previously mentioned this on last show that if you raise the minimum wage, yeah, they're going to pay you more money. You may get a little bit more than you usually were getting, but everything else is going to be much more expensive. So I'm sure all of you that are grocery shopping for your kids or for yourself, or just going to do whatever random activities you like to do, things have upped the cost. Same thing, a news article from McDonald's was actually reporting that the reason that the prices may have gone up in the dollar menu is a few more cents extra now is the reason because that they hired so many people and are paying them $15 and giving them 30 plus hours. So to out the cost of paying all these workers, they're going to raise the prices, and same thing they're doing with gasoline as well. So I think that's something to tie in as well. When Marcus comes back, I actually have the perfect segue into what we were going to discuss from the previous show. Let's see if we can get
Well,
Marcus Cage
I
and
wanted
Marcus
I wanted
Rage.
to add in. I wanted to add into what you were saying there because it's not that I'm against. Excuse me. It's not that I'm against raising the minimum
The
wage.
minimum wage,
Raising
exactly.
the issue is it all needs to be tied to inflation. That
Mm-hmm.
way, they can't just be like, "Oh well, hey, we'll pay you $15 an hour. We'll pay you $20 an hour," and then a couple months down the road, just start raising all their prices up. Because if you tied it to inflation, what would happen is as soon as they start raising these prices, your wages have to go up with it, and so it negates their reasoning to do it in the first place because it's going to be pointless. That's the reason why I say you should do that. Just like I've been said, I don't know how many years I've been pushing this idea. And it's funny. I'm hearing politicians now, finally now, just start. I mean, I have been making this point about stocks and politicians dealing with stocks since I was Jaylen's age. I said that politicians should not be able to have any kind of control over their stocks. In fact, they shouldn't even own any. I don't care about blind trust. I don't care, oh, I don't put my hands on it. No, sell it all. You have no rights to any of it because
You have
you're
no
literally
need.
making the
You're
laws on
already
it.
rich.
Well, you're making not only that, you already know how you're going to vote on a law. Say, for instance, you're the minority whip or majority whip or whatever, or you don't even have to have one of those positions. Say you're on finance committee. You already know that it's going to get this many votes, so more than likely it's going to pass or not pass. And then you know that this bill is going to boost this company here or hurt this company here. You already have insider trading knowledge. And so that's the reason why a lot of these politicians are so freaking wealthy. They get in there and they legally get away with insider trading. So they already have pre knowledge on how the stock is going to go. What'll happen is it'll get released out, and you'll have Politico or MSNBC or Vanity Fair, whoever. Somebody's going to come out and they're going to say, "Well, it looks like the Pelosi has the amount of votes, and this bill is going to pass." Well, they've already got on the phone with their stock investors and told them, "Hey, put this many shares into Dell, put this many shares into, thermodynamics, put this many shares into this, drop my shares this, sell that." So they already know how to make this money. So I mean, it for me, it's just, it's ridiculous. Uh, let's see, what did I see there? Says Thomas says I think minimum wage should be between $9 and $20 an hour. That is based on the size of the area economy and size wealth. businesses. Walmart is a city that can pay 20 an hour. Small startups can't. Yes. In order to, another thing is, it should go up across the board, but what they should do is they should be able to give some kind of a tax credit or some kind of exemption on taxes to let these smaller startups be able to pay at that same amount to be able to match these larger corporations. Um, that way, that would get rid of Walmart because when I was in college, before I switched over to education, I was first doing business administration. And literally in business school, one of the chapters, which there's like a whole like portion in ethics on Walmart and on all the business practices they do inside of Walmart. It letting me know how corrupt and shady this fucking company is. And so when you understand the practices which they do, and they'll tell you if you have the ability and you're a powerful corporation, you can make so much money doing this. But as far as is it morally right, they are probably one of the well, now that Amazon's came around, I'm pretty sure there's a chapter in there about how unethical
Well,
they are. But
we
it's
already know what goes on in their warehouses, Marcus.
yeah, you got people pissing and shitting in bottles, and some people
My
passing out
my
and
my friend used to work the graveyard shift overnight in the warehouse, and he used to come back tired, exhausted, no barely any breaks, just working, working, working. Granted, it was the summertime, but it still was a lot of hard work.
oh, didn't hear about this one. There's a camp out planned outside of one of Pelosi's houses this Friday. That's how sad it is with one of her houses.
One
Goodness.
of.
When we talk about like like I see Jessica here says, yep, the inflation, but honestly, 15 an hour is not enough for most places. Exactly. Where I am in California, 15 an hour is already kind of where it's at. Um,
Even in Florida, yeah, people are getting 15, but more people are coming here. More people with money are moving down here. Everything is so much more expensive. Whereas maybe 5 years ago, you can get a nice apartment, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms for maybe 12, 1300. Now it's almost 17, 18, almost 2000 a month, and that's not even taking account for all the other bills that you pile up.
well, here's another thing. I'm trying to remember if I get it right. For those who know what I'm talking about, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's called the CFI calculator. Look up the CFI calculator and then put in what wages were, your comparative wages in 1970, or whatever you want to go back to. And if you look, like for instance, if they say, "Oh well," you know how you always have that older person you work with who always says, "Oh man, when I was your age, I only made $8 an hour," and you're complaining about making 17. Look at what year that was that they were talking about, and then you adjust that shit for inflation, and you'll find out that $8 that they're talking about really equates to like $30 an hour. And so they're still making far more than you are, thinking mentally that that they were making less. And that's what I start realizing. If you actually adjusted a lot of this for inflation, the average American minimum wage should be somewhere around 30 to 40 bucks an hour. I mean, that's how far behind it is to compare to where our parents were at our age, a lot of us, in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, what they would have actually been making and bringing in. So it, it's so distorted, and they do it in little ways. Like we all see it. We remember when we were kids where you would open up the big bag of potato chips, you get your Lay's barbecue or whatever, and it's probably about 80% full, just enough air for just enough space for that little vacuum seal air. Now you open the damn thing up and
And
it's
it's
only about
halfway.
50% full. Yeah, or 55% full. That's how they nickel and dime you and take advantage of you in these different ways. and they still just they raise the price up a little bit and take a little bit out. And so it's hard to notice those couple of so-called pennies that you're losing here and there. See
Yeah,
what?
it's hard to keep track. And then I think it's gonna be hard to work these regular jobs now because they don't pay much.
And
And with the cost of
somebody,
living,
I'm about to boot this person out.
whoa. I
Yeah, they need to go.
don't even know what that says. I just saw the name.
Yeah, there's for one, I don't like anybody who wants to spam. For two, we don't do racist assholes in my chat. So figure out and remember how to boot you, and then we can get back.
Sorry, K dude.
Yeah, I don't feel like yelling or arguing with them tonight. Don't really got
No.
the energy for it.
What? I've been up since early this morning.
Yeah, I can't remember how to do it. Oh, there it is. No. Bye bye. Bye. Oh, it doesn't want to. Okay, then I'll put him in timeout for now, and then kick him out after that. I think he was blocked already. Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, I don't have time for those silliness. They can go away. Oh, but what were you about to say before I went back onto the minimum wage?
I was saying this was probably the because it's about an hour now. I was saying this would probably be the perfect time to segue into everybody's favorite pop culture segment. And I remembered the point you made when we were texting about it earlier. You wanted to save the rap music and music in general for the next episode. So this is
Mm-hmm.
where thing if we can keep that thing out on time. So I really wanted to get some of your thoughts on the music now and some of the references and some of the influences on younger audiences or even older audiences at that.
Well, I guess I would say the biggest thing that I noticed that sticks out the most would be it's harder to understand what the hell most of them are saying. And I know that sounds like an old person talking,
Hmm.
but it's 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 more than that because I used to listen to Twister. Twister he's literally still in the Guinness Book of World Records for the fastest rapper.
Fastest rap of all time, yeah.
Now, if I was able to understand what the hell Twister was saying, then I don't get why I can't figure out these other people. It's like it like that Ludacris commercial where he's literally rapping with peanut butter in his mouth. That's honestly what it sounds like to me when I hear a lot of these people talk. It's ridiculous. I see our buddy Tinder in the building.
Oh,
Drill.
drill music. Oh, I think I mentioned that to Marcus, and he was like, "What the hell is
I
that?"
don't even know what that is.
So basically, it's just gang stuff. It's just a bunch of dudes in gangs on the street talking about what they're doing. Like I think a famous drill lyric is "There's a bunch that's down the ride for a homicide when it's drama time."
Hey, I get. Maybe I am. Maybe people are starting to know who I
See,
am.
it's all I got a gun, I got some women, I got some pills, I got some weed. All right, what we gonna do? We're gonna kill someone, and they're gonna. So drill music is just I know 100 people that's down the ride for a homicide when it's drama time. Like if I could just quote a lyric and give you the gist of it.
Wow.
Um, I
Like
mean, it's
I
nothing
got
new.
I got an example of what I mean. For instance, there always used to be talk of drug use in albums. For instance, but in the hip hop community, only certain drugs were like permitted. You're okay to You know,
drink
do
and
some
smoke
lean
weed.
to drink, to smoke a little bit of weed. Every now and then, even do some damn shrooms or some ecstasy. But now, every drug under the sun. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's rappers out there who are probably rapping about smoking crack at this point. I don't know. I don't
I'd say the most popular are probably Xanax, Adderall, and Percocets. All prescription pain killers.
like it. But and even when these rappers would rap like that about this stuff, they didn't sound like they were actually on them while they were rapping. Like I don't know, what is it, Future? I mean, dude, you sound like you're just about to fall the fuck over while you're talking, man. Can't
In
you
the
say sober
studio,
long enough to
dude.
do a verse? And I'm sorry for those who are Future fans out there. I can't stand him. I think he has some good beats, but he just
No
sounds
offense taken.
stupid. He sounds stupid to
A
me.
lot
And
of them do.
I
You
mean,
know,
what is the prerequisite now in rap? You have to have dropped out of school before the eighth grade. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
I'd say the biggest thing is a bunch of people perpetrating a lifestyle. And I think it gets a lot of people into trouble who are fans, who take it over the fan limit sometimes. And you have to perpetrate this lifestyle of gang life and all these different things. Like you can't be working at Walmart and be in the studio in the same time. Like that isn't a real life struggle at all.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, he said that he doesn't drink lean anymore. He just raps about it because his fans want him to rap about it.
Well, why does he sound like he does? He
Because
literally
he's
sounds
probably
like
high off something else.
I'm like, he got to be on something because you don't sound like that fucking normally. I don't know
Even
what,
the artist Juice World.
unless he downs a whole fifth before he starts rapping. I don't know.
Have you heard of the artist Juice World?
Yeah, that he died not that long ago, right?
Yeah, in December of 2019, he actually died of he overdosed on Percocets. I think he had 80 pounds of weed on a private plane, and they had illegal Percocets, and he took 8 of them and died in the airport.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Rap has been a psyop since Pac and Big got killed. It's all been about twisting our mind and honestly, I feel like it's encourage you to do stupid shit so more you can get locked up faster. That's what I honestly feel like. And they're like, you know what? These dumb motherfuckers do everything that they say in the songs. Hmm. Let's just make more songs to get them in trouble, and then let's send agents like what's his damn name? I can't think of it right now. I guess people stop kind of fucking with him a little. DJ Vlad, and then get punk ass bitches like DJ Vlad to get you on to admit to doing some
To
crimes.
incriminate yourself.
Yeah, to incriminate you, a fucking agent to send you down.
You
Let's
know,
see.
another thing, and they don't want any positivity to get out. Notice how they play this. Oh, DMX talked about the street and politics, but he was real. You understood him. He was like a reporter. Now we go Nicki Minaj and 6ix9ine or whatever his name is. Well, I gotta put in this one point. Nicki can rap. I mean, she's done a lot of corny, radio stuff for the bag, but Nicki can rap. 6ix9ine, we don't claim him. Obviously, he's not in the limelight anymore for obvious
Can't
reasons.
do the snitch.
And he was in the limelight for reasons that weren't around. No, Juice WRLD was a rapper from Chicago. He was only 20 years old.
Mm.
But one thing I was pointing out was notice they don't allow anything positive on the radio. It's just Drake with his corny bubblegum love songs and the same, oh, I pop mine in the club, spend money, I'm high, I'm this.
Well, and it
Like,
used to be.
and I think oh
It
07,
used to be. It used to be a little bit of an outlet for some to get through. Like rappers like Common, they used to put out stuff. Pac would occasionally put out a song that had some positivity and breaking down some stuff. I guess you have maybe like a Big Sean who might throw out some stuff where he's talking about some other stuff. What's the other? Kendrick
Lu-
Lamar. He's
Lupe
throwing out
Fiasco
Lupe,
before
yeah, but Lupe
he
kind of
became.
stayed on the underground though.
Oh, I'm just talking before he went super vax.
Yeah, so I mean, it's and who else? I can't think of him. Light skinned cat. You know what I'm talking about. I can't remember his name for nothing. I can see his face big as day, but I can't think of his name. I'm pretty sure somebody will probably say his name in the chat. Like there's
But
another most deaf. You know, cats like most deaf are not allowed to.
even Kanye before he went all crazy had some positive records on the radio. I mean, all falls down, Jesus walks.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can't. That's why you can't analyze these rappers because they end up disappointing you, like someone you put too much faith in.
I mean, Talib Kweli is one of my old school favorites. Also,
Hmm.
um, I would listen to, well, but I go back to I even back in the day when like a lot of the gangster rap and all was out. J. Cole just got it. That's who I was thinking of. J.
Oh,
Cole.
okay.
J. Cole puts out some stuff here that some good music here too. I like, even back in the day, I preferred lyricists. I always fucked with the lyricists. I liked Fab. I like Big Pun. Um, I like Andre 3000 before he lost his mind. Um, you know, I used to listen to a lot of Twister, Poe Pimpin', Do or Die. Growing up in the Midwest, also, I listened to some what was their name? Bone Thugs. It was a
It's
lot of different
sluggish,
people.
sluggish bone.
Mhm. Oh yeah, that shit takes me back. It's the first of the month. It was a lot of people that I used to really mess with back in the day. Yeah, Tinder said, where was that Tinder said? He had a good comment there. He said there, although Ice Cube used to be most political rapper outside of Chuck D. I used to mess with Chuck D too. I mean, honestly, I was messing with Chuck D up until not that long ago when I saw him. Like, I don't know what happened after this COVID shit. It really like made a lot of them like turn and change because Flav already started showing his colors then when he started flipping and going against Public Enemy at that point. And then Chuck D just disappointed me. I mean, like I look at like where's the Eric B and Rakim's at? You know, that's what I used to like to listen to. You know, I
Like
listened to a
even,
little Sally Cell too back in the day.
I mean, for my day, I'd say the lyrics got more raunchy. But I mean, even the dude we used to hear on the radio who seems to
If
be
y'all don't know about this one right here, Caitlin, why won't it let me put it up on the screen? Caitlin's comment right here. Man, if you guys see Caitlin's comment right there, if
just
y'all
read
don't
it
know
out
who
loud.
that is, y'all need to write it down, look them up right now, because that's who I literally be bumping like hardcore now.
Who read the comment, Marcus?
Huh?
Can you read the comment?
Right there.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce their last name. It's one of
Toby.
my favorites. Caitlin put me on to them. She sent me some of their music. They are dope as hell. Dope as hell. And they talking about some. They on my level. And you know what we're talking about, Jay. Like one of the lyrics they even say, Isaac and Abraham's daddy. And so what we're talking about. They own some other stuff. And every song I listen to them, they got such a different style. It's kind of reminds me of it's kind of a fast delivery, but it's almost like they're almost rapping like almost a monotone kind of style. But some of the lines that they put in there, some of those lines are just crazy. and then they talking on some serious conscious like stuff where if you don't understand and you're not awake, like really awake, you don't know what the hell they're really even talking
I
about.
mean, like we were even saying, just I guess conscious rap or woke rap. There were still dudes back in your time talking about the streets and different things like that. But a difference is, I'd say they have a better way of painting a picture, and
Mm-hmm.
as they don't give those gems anymore. Whereas they'll say like Jay Z, like I told you so, drugs. No, Hov did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that. Like I'm not telling you to go out and sell drugs, but now it's like I just took an X pill to feel my body. Like I don't feel like myself without a. I don't have confidence without lean.
In fact, hold on again. Keep talking, Jay. I'm gonna try to see. I'm gonna hop into the live stream real quick, and I'm gonna try to put one of their songs in the chat because hey, I feel the hell out of that group.
Hmm. I'd say even for another thing, for my time, rap just severely degenerated as I got older. I mean, there was always whack artists. There's always going to be whack rappers in every time point, whether you're my age or Marcus's. But even for instance, a guy we heard on the radio every single day, who's not even mentioned. I'm sure all of you know Lil Wayne. He used to be on the radio every single day. And yes, he would do some corny pop songs for the radio. Yes, but if you go and listen to some of those mixtapes, the dude can really rap. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like none of these dudes even enjoy it. It's just for a check. And I think that's one of the bigger contributing factors to the downgrade of the music itself is that now it's not a bunch of dudes who love to make music and make, what they called it back in your time, random noise. Now it's just random stuff that they're saying of drugs,
Mm-hmm.
whatever
Yeah,
sounds good.
I put one of the links in. I put one in the chat so you guys could check it out. Just one of their songs, and once you get on there, just go through and listen to. They're doing
You
some
know,
different.
we do gotta send some shots at Lil Wayne. He is a big reason why music sounds the way it does now. As I think a lot of these kids realize they probably couldn't have as many bars at their disposal as he did.
Hmm.
So they're like, okay, we can't do what you do on the mic, but we can take the funny stuff you do with your voice, and we can do something else with it.
That's honestly what they're
And
doing because
I
they
have
don't
I
have his
have some
ability, but they're taking the sound effects part of it and the silliness
because
of it.
Little Wayne was coming out with the because I remember back even when I was 6, 7 years old, you would hear his voice. We like to heavily promote unsung rappers on our station. There are a few good ones.
See, Toby is great because his wife is part of his team and his producer is incredible. They do their own choreography and costumes, all of
Oh
it.
wow, that's pretty dope.
They are dope. I'm telling you, Jay.
But
I'm gonna
hey,
send you
Marcus,
a couple of their songs. They're dope.
can I can I make this other point? If we're just getting into the meat of things, let's talk about what the industry did to a special person. I'm sure all of you are familiar with auto tune at this point, but can you name the biggest contributor to auto tune, and especially in this time?
What T Pain? Because I know.
T Pain. Look what they did to T Pain. They took his whole sound,
Hmm.
killed him, blackballed him, and now it's the go-to sound in every in that. Yep, exactly. But I'm sure Jessica, you remember T Pain from '05 to maybe 2011. He was on everything. Every song he made was on the radio. It felt like
You,
every year
you,
he had it.
you know what happened to him, right?
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell you. For those who don't know it, a lot of y'all probably got some of the albums of the person who completely wrecked T Pain, and he didn't even know this person did it or had a beef towards him. Usher.
Hmm.
Usher was one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest haters of T-Pain there was, and completely like cut him off at the knees. And so, and here's the funny thing: a lot of people don't. I don't know if they remember T-Pain's first like big album that came out was called Rapper Turned Singer. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people
That's
don't
what.
know that he was a singer first.
That's his big song that I'm strong.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to have that on my iPod. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I rocked out to like T-Pain for a minute, and you got to at that time when T-Pain was first coming out, I was living in Florida at the time, in Jacksonville, Florida, by the way, which
Oh, he's
only a
strong.
couple of hours from Tallahassee. And so I was hearing him when he was first coming out, So I was impressed with a lot of his music, and then he even started trying to, you know, do a little bit different, get away from the auto tune, even not use it nearly as much. But at that point, everybody started using it. It got hard to distinguish, and
Look,
also
even
his
Kanye.
airplay got cut off.
Look, he said in the interview, look, I went out to Hawaii. I recorded the 808s Heartbreak album, which birthed Drake. He even said like Kid Cudi had mentioned played a verse for him because this is before Kid Cudi had blown up, and he was told him, "Oh, don't steal my shit." And it's funny, he was saying, "You're worried about me stealing your stuff when I came to record an album for him to steal my whole sound."
Well, and another, the person who I feel like who's the biggest thief in hip hop is Drake. Drake is the biggest thief in hip hop. Horrible.
Shout out to Quentin Miller.
hmm
Look,
Booty work is my guilty pleasure.
it's okay, Caitlin. We all have a T Pain song we all secretly love.
my main song. If I gotta pick a song that's not one of his most popular ones, is Church. He's like, I'm gonna take your ass to church.
I think mine's
I go check
probably
the song out.
my two favorite would probably be "Can't Believe It" with Lil Wayne because I just remember that every single day. Every time we went, one of Usher's biggest hits is "Oh My God," and he made Justin Bieber famous so he could kick rock. Yes,
Yeah.
I remember OMG. I had that on the iPod too.
Watch T-Pain drink chaps. It's
That's
hilarious.
actually a good episode.
hmm
But like I was saying, my favorite would probably have to be "Can't Believe It" with Lil Wayne. I'm sure you
hmm
remember hearing that all the time. And then "Drinking Partner," but this is after that song came after his fame had died down a little bit. I think this was
Yo,
like 2014.
and if I gotta go, my Little Wayne joint that's like one of my favorites where it's just Little Wayne on the track because a lot of his songs I realize I like of Little Wayne's. It's a collabo, but
Hmm.
it would have to be was it Shoot Me Down?
Mm.
I mean, so that's going back to the what is it? The Carter 2, I believe. I think it was
I
either
think,
the Carter 2 or the Carter 3, one of those.
and it's funny how it seems like everybody forgot about him too.
hmm
Like from 2005 to 2012, he wasn't on every single song. You could not turn on any radio station and not hear a Little Wayne song or feature. And I'm sure all of you remember because you were older than I was. I mean, I guess so.
This full rider considered a rapper.
I mean, I guess so. He's made a lot of money.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you what he did. He said, "Listen here, I'm about my paper. I don't care if it's gonna be played on cruise ships for nothing but 50-year-old people showing up to their family reunions to dance around to, or if you're playing it at some little kid's bar mitzvah, or if you're playing it at Walmart. I don't care. Just get my shit played. I don't even care if it sounds good, really. I mean, just get my shit played. And
And down in Florida, he used to be on the radio quite often.
Kaylin says, I love B.O.B. before the flat Earth stuff, and I like Bruno Mars, obviously. Honestly, when he came out with the flat Earth stuff, I was like, but you guys are probably looking me a little sideways. I stopped looking at him too sideways after a while on some stuff. So I the jury is out for me on some shit. That's all I'll say.
But I keep mentioning Wayne to bring up another point. Another thing to say Wayne was on everything, especially like '08. Future isn't considered a rapper to me. None of that auto tune shit is rap. They done co opted the game.
Yeah, it almost. I
But
mean, and anybody and that's what it was. We ain't even brought him up. Luda made fun of him in that Jif commercial when he like puts the GIF in. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he has a new commercial. He eats some peanut butter. He's like, and they're like, man, that flow is crazy. That's what a lot of rap sounds like today. It's like take the
but
dick out of your mouth first and then rap. I mean, gosh, it's just.
but like I was saying, like I was saying, like especially in a way we heard him on everything. But I think and rappers are also taking the same approach how he was on. Just put out a bunch of music, a bunch of albums, a bunch of mixtapes, a bunch of features, and a lot of artists are also taking the same approach. But like we've been saying in the comments, a lot of these people can't rap, but they're producing at very high rates and hopping on every feature. They're not giving themselves like a chance to bubble up. It's just push out music, and that came from their forefathers.
But what Kaylin brings up says he helped me a lot while he wrote about his schizophrenia, but then his music was like being inside acute psychosis, and I couldn't visit that space anymore. Bob, I mean, I understand, and that reminds me of a sad, Xxxtentacion with his music.
Hmm.
It's good, but I can't listen to it because it puts me in a bad place. It makes me. I'm like, I'm not even depressed, but I feel depressed listening to this shit. I mean, I'm not saying he
But
wasn't
that
talented.
shows you the. But you know, but I think that speaks to his talent for his ability to bring you to that place. And just like you said, I'm
Well,
not
it's
depressed
more.
at all.
It's more than talent. It's knowledge of knowing what he's doing. Like, I don't know if people have paid attention to some of these interviews, but I've watched a lot of his interviews right at the time he died because I was looking into a lot of different Illuminati stuff with the actors and musicians and stuff. And one of his interviews, he said that, I have the ability to use certain types of tones and sounds to make you feel happy, to make you feel angry, to make you feel sad in my music. I know how to do that. And I realized there is an actual real science behind that, what he was doing. And he was intentionally tapping into that science and affecting your mood on intentionally. And I feel that led into his death, possibly. You can call me a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe that led into his death. That amongst other things, but of course, with
He
that beef going on with Drake too, that didn't
his
help.
I think XXXTentacion's death is probably one of the more conflicting slash harder deaths out of the artists to die for my generation. Just because I remember his rise, and for you guys weren't tuned in as much, but this guy went from making ear rape music where they're just screaming on the beat like like don't at raves and people just going absolute mad to him getting like really depressed and he's really depressing in his music. But I like if you are fans of Kodak or NBA YoungBoy, this dude had real fans. There's fans and then there's the die hard supporting fans. So when he died, it was kind of just like, oh wow, especially if you were around my age, because it only had been about a year and a half since he had just blown up. And it's like, why we just saw you get to like a good standing and you're just gone. And he actually missed a lot of stuff from a lot of people. Like there's a lot of people out there who said he saved their life, stopped them
Mm-hmm.
from committing suicide and different things like that. And when he would go live in his interviews, he would speak some positive things. So it was actually really sad to see him, pass on to the other life.
Yeah, it's when he split those EPs. It was like Earth and Fire,
Are
like
we
Melody.
talking about B.O.B. or are we talking about?
I believe B.O.B. Yeah, but I mean,
Let me see if I can find it.
yeah, I love artists which are able to connect to you, emotionally in a certain way. It's like outside of hip hop, like Jimi Hendrix. A
Oh,
lot of
look,
Hendrix music really connected to me
I was
in
looking
different,
B.O.B.
especially while I was in the military. Yeah, I
Look,
don't
I
know.
was looking up.
And more than likely, I plan to never know who he is and hope I don't learn who he is. I
Oh, Mozzy's my guy.
don't know.
He
I don't know.
he has a song with my dude G Herbo, and I mess with G Herbo. Shout out to G Herbo.
Like I'll tell people like outside I listen to a lot of Hebrew Israelite music when I'm listening to rap mostly, and then outside of that, I'm listening to mostly like a lot more reggaeton. So some of these people I don't listen to very much, so I'm not gonna know who these drill people are. I mean, now you bring up a Ozuna song, you bring up some Bad Bunny, you bring
Maybe some
up
Aventura.
yeah. Well, I listen only a little bit of Aventura.
Mm.
Daddy Yankee, Tego Calderon, let's see, Ovi,
See, I heard a
um,
lot of that. I went to school where it was 98% Hispanic. So all the quinceañeras I went to from freshman to sophomore year, I heard all of it. But
see, yeah,
but it's
who else would I say? What Calle 13? I listen to a lot more of that. Don Omar.
you
Um,
like Mark Sanchez?
I have no clue who that is.
You don't know who Mark Sanchez is?
Mark Anthony. I don't know who Mark Sanchez is.
Mark Anthony too. My grandmother used to play him all the time.
Hmm. And then, but I also listen to like, some people you might not like. I don't know. You familiar with Darel?
No,
Uh, Faruco? Yeah, it's some other people. Mikey Towers.
I've heard of
You know,
Mikey Towers.
Amanasi.
I
And almost
listen.
like he's saying I'm a Nazi, but it's
I,
not.
I listen to a lot. I listen to mostly rap and some reggae, not reggaeton, but reggae.
Oh no, listen to some reggae. Go back in the day, listen to
But
some
a lot of people don't like the new dancehall
Ellison.
either. I love to point out a lot of old heads. I could say they don't like the new dancehall either.
Yeah, I listen to older reggae. I don't really mess with some lady. Give me some Lady Saw. Give me. I'll even go back to give me any Marley over this new stuff. You
I
know.
like I like a lot of Barris Hammond.
Hmm.
I like Damian Marley. I like Sean Paul, especially Sean Paul. I grew up hearing all his
Thunderfall.
songs. He's super dope. You got Beanie Man, you got Elephant Man, all stuff that I grew up hearing as a kid.
Hmm. Yeah.
But
Well, it says I feel like I was born on another planet. It's all right. It's just when it gets into music, some people just have their different lanes where they're in. I listen. I grew up listening to a lot of stuff. I mean, my mom back in the day, especially. And here's something which is like a little bit different over the generations. We go back, say, what 20 years, and my mom's 20 years older than me. Her generation at that point you didn't have as many. Okay, here's the country station. Here's the rock station. Here's the classic rock station. Here's. a lot of these things were all interchanged. I mean, it was all in the same top 40. So you would have a rock song, then you would have an old school R&B. So you might have some Earth, Wind, and Fire, and then you're gonna have a Charlie Cash song, and then after that you might have a Beatles song, and then after that you're gonna have some Rick James, and then after that you might have some Bee Gees, and then
Or some Marvin
so
Gaye.
it was all mixed in a lot more. So I grew up with my mom listening to, my mom listening to Journey, listening to Kansas. She was listening to Luther Vandross. She's listening
Shout
to
out Luther.
Wind and Fire, some Delphonics.
She listened
Um,
to Marvin. I'm assuming
oh, of
so.
course, of course. Marvin
Of
is
course.
always a prerequisite. She'd be listening to some Anita Baker, some
Mm-hmm.
Patti LaBelle. Oh, you better believe it was. What you talking about? No Isleys. I
Oh, Isley?
still rock some Isleys right now.
Oh, you know,
Some
you want to know what's
Isley,
my favorite? One of my favorite
some
Isley
Teddy.
Brothers songs. One of my
What's that?
favorite Isley Brothers songs is the sample they used for "It Was a Good Day." I think it's "Footsteps in the Dark."
Yeah, Footsteps in
The
the
the,
Dark. Yep.
the same dun, 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 they used on "It Was a Good
Yep.
Day" with Ice Cube. But one thing I'd like to point out is, as far as the mainstream, they don't like to put any they don't like to put any music out with positive messages. So, for instance, oh yes, it is Kelly. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But like I was saying, even a rapper, you know Styles P. Marcus, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, of course. So he had a song a few years ago. You know, I'm black. I'm black. Mm, you remember that song?
Oh yeah, I remember.
So even then, they wouldn't give that song the light of day on the radio, but they'll let Meg The Stallion and Cardi B go and talk about how they got some whopping about to scheme on a rich daddy.
Yeah, I'm not on all that. Like I love like back in the day, they could be taught it could be a sexual song, but they didn't have to be like, all right, now spread your legs open and show me your this, and then I'm gonna do that, and I want the dripping, and no, they didn't have to go that far. Like Teddy P,
Do you
like I
know?
remember I was like, he's almost a little abusive in this song,
Do you
but I
remember?
love it. He was giving the girl commands. He was like, now go in there. Now you're going to put on that red dress. You're going to put on them heels. Now close the door. Now he tell the lights, he's like, now turn them off. He was like giving the girl commandments. And so, I mean, you didn't
Do
have,
you?
we knew what
Are
was
you?
going on. But you didn't have to, go to that
Are,
point.
are, are you
Oh,
familiar
he was
with?
do it. Did he bring it out? That's my favorite Isley joint right there. He said I tried to play my music, but my music was too loud. When I tried to talk about it, I got the big run around. When
I meant to ask you. Are you or anyone in the comment section? Are you guys familiar with Moneybag Yo? He's an artist from Memphis. So I'm gonna give you a line, Marcus, and I want you to react. This is a
it was okay.
okay, Marcus. I want to get a live reaction of this line. So he says, "I snuck out of her house when her man's wasn't looking. He walked in and said, 'Ugh, it smells like pussy.' She said, she goes, 'What's that? That's booty, dick, and you know.'"
You know where he got? Do you know where he got that from?
No.
That's from. Actually, before I say it, let me see if anybody in the chat can figure out where he got that from. What is Badissi? Jay just explained what Badissi is, but where did he get this from? This came from a movie, by the
And
way.
Marcus, and believe it or not, I heard that in the club.
This came from a movie.
Look,
This came from a movie.
Marcus, the
One
funniest
of my
thing was
favorite, one of my favorite comedians. He's definitely on my all-time list. But
mm,
when he said that line, I about fell out when I was watching that. I'm gonna give y'all about 30. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. If
Marcus,
nobody
your
can say
reaction
it.
looked a little disgusted.
Yeah, I'm disgusted at a lot
And
of
the
this.
worst part is the ladies weren't even rocking with it where I was. No one liked it. We were all like, ew, that's so nasty.
Nope, it wasn't Richard Pryor. It was a comedian though.
Chris Rock?
Nope.
It's
Nobody
not
knows.
Chappelle. It's not
Nobody
Chappelle.
knows.
It's not
Not
Chappelle.
Chappelle.
Was it Paul Mooney?
Nope. That's a
Hmm.
good guess though, but not Paul Mooney.
I can't think.
Not Eddie Murphy.
Hmm.
All right,
Hmm.
I'll give it to you. It was
Okay.
Bernie fucking
Mac.
Mac.
Okay. I could see
It
that.
was it was in the movie How to Be a Player. And in How to Be a Player, Bill Bellamy's character sneaks in and he's messing with his wife. And he's like, baby, my flowers, they're looking all dry. And he got his little squirt he's spraying on it. He's like, what's that smell? It smells like Badussy up in here. But that's where that line comes from. How to Be a Player with Bill Bellamy. I think the movie came out like 95, I believe, 94, 95. It was what was their name? Beverly Johnson. Beverly Johnson was the older woman that was his wife. That yeah, Wesley. I knew Wesley would know it. He just probably forgot about it. But yes, it was Bernie Mac that said that line that created it. I
But
mean,
look, um, but Moneybag Yo, who I referenced, he has a song. Have you heard of the song called Waukesha?
mm-mm.
So that's just the street name for promethazine, codeine. So like lean, Wakar, Waukesha.
I knew you had to know it. I don't know why you didn't guess it. I figured you'd be the first
So
one.
so I would say he has a.
Give us some likes, people. Show us some love.
I will say this though, he has a song called Waukesha, and he's talking about his lean addiction. So the song starts off, I'm sitting here looking at Keisha like, "Do you love me? Do you love me not?" And then it's an animation, like a sound bite of ice in a cup and drinking, and he's like, "Damn, you hit the spot." And he's talking about, "I spent dumb racks on you," talking about lean, and all the girls are singing it. Like, oh, I'm like, yo, do y'all not realize he's talking about his lean addiction, and y'all singing it like he rapping about a girl? I mean, that's the style he did for the song. But if anyone's just looking at it, you don't even have to critically analyze the song. It's not deep. It's just
Well,
he's talking about a clear addiction, and we're singing to it like, oh my god, this is so cool.
but that's the same with the weekend also, and I can't. I'll give the disclaimer. His songs are catchy, so I'm sorry. Songs are catchy, but the song "I Can't Feel My Face."
Oh,
He
of
is
course.
talking about using what is it? Cocaine. That's what he's talking about. Can't feel his face, cocaine. He's talking about dying of a drug overdose in the song. And if you watch the video, it gets even darker than that because he has a character which basically is representing like the devil who sets him like. And if you watch the video, nobody's paying him any attention until this devil character jumps up and sets him on fire. Then once he's on fire, then everybody's loving the music. And if you watch video after video of his, you realize, yes, he is literally, this character is supposed to represent the devil. So I mean, music
The weekend,
changed.
some of the
Got a
weekend's
lot
music video,
darker.
a lot of the weekend's music videos get darker. I don't know if you guys remember The Hills, but even just I think I was in middle school.
The Hills at the very end of the Hills video. You remember the guy who's sitting in the chair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the same guy who's in the "I Can't Feel My Face" video. There's a song right after that where he shoots the guy in the desert and buries him. And then it goes to the Hills, and then that same guy is sitting in the room. And if you notice, he's wearing all black and it's red all through there.
Let's see if we can try to find a clip.
Yeah, there are a few really catchy but subtly dark tunes. I mean, one of my other songs, and I noticed that the weekend is just very dark in general, and he just masks it through sounding happy and up and singing in falsettos and high pitch. But a lot of his songs are very dark. I mean,
I mean,
you
he's the
know,
one. He also had the biggest song on the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack.
yeah. Well, I'm a care for you. Is that?
No, it's
Oh, you just froze up. Yes. Oh yes, Caitlin. I gotta send you some stuff on him. Like he's in my kind of like entertainment pseudo. Oh, Wicked Games. That's a dark one too. Yeah, that Glowing Cross makes a lot more sense. In fact, I don't think I've seen any artist who's killed himself in more songs than The Weeknd. Like I mean, that dude probably has easily 10 to 15 videos where he gets killed or it kills himself or something in the songs. So yeah, and then the song Heartless. If you slow down and look at it, after he like licks this frog and he's like wigging the hell out and he's running down the street, he looks in this vehicle. And if you look in the vehicle, there's literally a guy who looks like a demon or something who has horns in his video. So, I mean, yeah, Wicked Games, that's another one where he got a lot of dark stuff. And if you don't understand some of the stuff about like Beelzebub and some of these like I guess theoretical demonic things and spirits and stuff, you won't know how much stuff he's actually really throwing in there. I mean, I was like, is this him putting this in there? Is this some of him and some of the directors adding some of this stuff? It's a lot of dark shit going
or
on.
maybe he's just trying to tell us he sold his soul.
Well, he has one video where he does basically say he sold his soul. He doesn't say it, but in the
What
video,
video is it?
oh crap. I'll have to send it to you. But the video, he literally standing at the crossroads at a dark hour. So for those who are not familiar with that, the story of what is it? Probably gonna correct me if I get his name wrong, but I think it's like Bobby Johnson or whatever who says that he sold his soul to the devil to learn how to play the guitar. Um, he's standing in the crossroads, and some of the stuff which you see in that video, eagles and stuff like that, it kind of alludes to Lilith. I don't know if you guys are familiar or hip to Lilith. I could break that down in a whole nother time. If you guys aren't, but for those who know about Lilith, you'll understand what I'm talking about. He throws in like the leopard and stuff like that, representing MK Ultra programming. He throws a lot of stuff in his videos that you don't see. Um, the one video, I Can Feel It Coming, where the snake, he throws a lot of like
It's funny
that's
because you'll hear I hear like that's one of my grandmother's.
I
That's
think
one of
he
my grandmother's favorite songs, and she loves to just dance. But you'll see the video, and it's super dark. But then you have somebody singing.
yes, he was raised religious. He was for those who don't know, he is half Ethiopian, I believe, and so he grew up not with the 66 books of the Bible, not with the 80 books of the Bible, with 81 books of the Bible, including the Book of Enoch. And the Book of Enoch has some wild shit in it. Some really wild shit in it. I've read it. I don't believe in it or hold it to be, I believe it's mostly fabrications. But the Ethiopian church, most of them believe in it like wholeheartedly. So it has some shit in there. In fact, on my Hebrew apologetics page, I might go into breaking down the Book of Enoch and some of the stuff in there. Tinder says, "Nah, I don't know about Lilith, but that's one of my favorite Halsey songs." Lilith is is said to be mythologically supposed to be Adam's first wife, and it's said that she didn't want to submit to him. And so Lilith ran away from the Garden of Eden. How the story goes, angels were sent after her. Yes, Lilith, yeah, he knows. Angels were sent after her. She still didn't want to come back. So what happened is they cursed her, and so she was turned into this like screeching owl type creature. So Lilith also leads into succubus and all kind of other stuff. So it gets really far out there. Um, let's see. Thomas says at Caitlin, he could be many musicians speak about being murdered or speak of suicide. It usually comes true, i.e., Tupac, Biggie, Kurt Cobain, and the lead singer of Linkin Park. Um, I believe what they're saying is they're masking it in stuff which kind of comes across as fictional, but they're talking about real things. Like for instance, if you really pay attention in the weekend's videos, one of the videos, I think it's what Snowpiercer or Snowfall or something like that. In that video, he showed all these other videos like a devil, like this guy representing a devil. And then what you notice is he's kind of making it as if that devil person is the person they signed their contracts to. So not saying that they're some literal, serpent person hiding up, but that they are the great deceiver. And once you sign that contract, your soul is basically sold because they make you do and they control you. And kind of funny, it kind of alludes to some of my actually belief system that when they're talking about devil, it's not literally talking about somebody who's all red all over with a pitchfork and a fucking tail and all that shit. Devil really only means deceiver. And so it's talking about a great deceiver, somebody who's going to trick you, fool you, and try to control you. So I feel like a lot of these artists are trying to explain that they're being controlled and that they don't have control over their own um, faculties. Some it might just be because of these contracts. Some of it might be a little bit more than that because I've heard many of them allude to MK Ultra programming, which we all know MK Ultra is real. That we don't know the effectiveness of it, but the CIA did admit that they were, what was it? I think the 80s that they were dousing tons of people with LSD, and so we do know that they did try to mind control people for a fact. It's just a matter of if they actually got it to actually work. We don't know. We may never know. But I've heard other people in the music industry, not even music industry, just Hollywood in general, allude to these things actually being real. So we'll leave it on that note without going
I
too
think
far.
that's something we could come back to. We could talk about the satanic appearances in music and how it gets into a bunch of dark different places.
Let's see. Oh, I got an interesting. Missed a couple of comments there. Bring it a little bit back. Oh, Caitlin says, I asked my boyfriend the other day, how do you think Kurt would feel if he were here today and still heard the music everywhere? As far as the rock music, I don't feel he would be as dismayed. I think he might feel it's a little kind of softened since his days. But there's a group, for instance, like even though it's a different style wise, I feel like 21 Pilots, if you really listen to the lyrics of like some of like that first one that blew up, he has a song called Migraine where it's some off the wall shit that he's saying in this song. He's talking about putting a noose around his brain and all kind of stuff. Like there's a song called Car Radio where he's talking about how sometimes he's going through like he's kind of like going through a little freestyle. And he's like, well, I could just pull the wheel, and so he's alluding to suicide in his lyrics multiple times, and a lot of sad to say, even our greatest comedians, I feel like they wrestle with depression. And sadly, that line between depression to creativity is what leads to some of the great art that we're left with. Sad to say that they don't always make it out on the other side. Okay, I mean,
But
perfect
like,
example. Perfect example in the like we were talking about movies last week. Heath Ledger, or no, we were talking about that yesterday. Heath Ledger, him playing the Joker role, how he gave us such an amazing, performance, and it was just too much for him.
but
Um,
even in like, I saw a comment that mentioned they were talking about rappers and their death. Like even Big on Ready to Die, not the album, the song. Before you even get to suicidal thoughts, you're hearing him ready to kill himself because he's saying, um, F F the world, F my mom's and my girl, my life is played out like a Jerry curl, I'm ready to die. Like, and we're
mhm.
just like, but maybe that's a cry for help.
Well, and I wanted to go back to this because it says Kurtzler's had some real anti-establishment and anti-brainwashing sentiment. You have that with some other groups which are still around. Rage Against the Machine, definitely. Another group which I used to like listen to and cover when I was playing music. Rise Against, the Flowbots. There are ones out there, which are putting out an anti-establishment message. We just have. It's just now, since there's so many ways to put out music and there's not as many stop valves to let people get out, it's a flood of everything. So it's just so much more to pick through. And I feel like the powers that be are promoting the most negative of those things to the top and trying to suppress those things which could have positive messages or could be
And
in,
another thing,
in
Marcus,
like.
this will cause this could cause a whole nother episode, but they also changed up the frequencies on how we hear the music.
Yeah, we're gonna go into that, and I want to bring up. Hopefully, I can figure out on the laptop how to get that thing set up because it wouldn't let me do StreamYard on there. But if I can set it up, I want to bring up that video where X is talking about the different frequencies and how they use that in music. And if he understood that at what, like 19, 20 years old, you cannot tell me that music executives don't know that and don't understand that, and why some of this different hip hop music, especially back in the 90s, made us a lot more on edge and more violent towards each other, and did lead, in my opinion, well, I won't say lead, but help contribute to more gang violence.
Now the music now has you more depressed, drugs,
Hmm.
leaning on drugs,
Yeah, Kaylin.
and more music is more.
I didn't think about it because normally I talk to you on Discord. Now that you're on this channel in particular, go through my playlist. I tell everybody to do it. Some people never take the time. Literally every video in my playlist I have viewed, some of them multiple times, and they're all in there for a reason. They so there's so much information that and for some of the ones, I think it's like Dark Secrets. I have one like Dark Secrets. They control the world. Things. Look into some of those that I have on here, and you're gonna see a lot of stuff that you know. And the reason why I say check through these playlists, it's easier to find if you go through my playlist, and it might lead you to other stuff because how the algorithm makes it harder and harder. I noticed over the past maybe year how hard it got to. Well, I would say maybe a year and a half, how it got harder and harder to find this stuff. Where literally I would have to search page through page through page through page through page of YouTube to finally find some of these videos that I was actually looking for. They're in there. You just have to decide, do I want to spend 45 minutes digging through search engines to find some of this stuff? And I've already did some of that already in there to help you all find some of that information which they're burying. And you got to understand, or you got to question, why are they burying these things? Why don't they want people to even look at these videos? Because maybe it makes them a little bit nervous. You know, um, I guess we're getting on. Oh, we're at that 2 hour mark, so we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. Wesley says there's a lot of superstition around music frequencies too, though. The tuning frequencies has changed many times through history. Yeah, sometimes it is just on a superstitious note, but sometimes they actually know what they're doing. I've had um, I've had scientists actually show how you can play certain music where it literally can kill your plants.
Oh,
You can play
Marcus,
certain
wait.
music where it,
Before we get off the show, since we were mentioning The Weeknd, look for his video "Blinding Lights." Just look at the thumbnail. I don't know if you guys can see, but just look right here.
that's
Blinding
yeah,
Lights.
the video that's right up under it. What's the title on that one?
Call Out My Name.
Call Out My Name. Yes, that's the one from the Shades of Grey. That's the video where he's standing in the crossroads. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
one where it has the Lilith, and it shows it a couple of times. And it talks about the barren places. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with barren places and things like that, and the tie to the Bible. A lot of this stuff, what I start realizing is um, a lot of these people, if they don't understand Illuminati symbology, whoever is directing these videos does, because they are putting so much stuff in there. I mean, I can go back to the Michael Jackson Blood on the Dance Floor cover. You look at the checkered floor, the blood on the dance floor, the angle which his hands are pointing at. It's just a lot of stuff, and I don't know how many of you guys even take the time to dabble into the conspiracy theory webs. Me, I'm so deep in it, you know. I've already put a residence down there, so if you guys are interested in some of that stuff, because I look at it like this: all of this stuff can't be a coincidence, and everybody can be an atheist or believe this or believe that. These elites believe in this stuff. And they believe in this stuff for a reason. They could all be delusional, but if you don't understand what messages they're trying to put out, you won't even see some of the little coding that they're trying to do. And it gets a little scary, some of this stuff, after a while when you really start looking into it. Yeah, the weekend is very, very, very tortured.
I would wonder what a conversation with him outside of the public eye, if say I was able to get a chance to speak to him with his guard down. I would wonder what he would really say.
I would say he feels like he's trapped. I
I'd want to
mean,
ask him where the inspiration for his dark music comes from.
one of his videos, you know, the one where he's like his nose is all beat up and
Oh,
everything.
when it looked like he got the surgery.
Yeah, he gets off of stage because the whole album he like has videos for, and it's going through a process. And so in
That's his
Blinding Lights,
latest album that dropped in
yeah,
2020.
in Blinding Lights he gets beat up. Like when he's singing on the stage, he's singing to this woman. He gets beat up and his nose gets all bloody. Well, he goes on, I think it's Jimmy Kimmel, which for those who don't know, Jimmy Kimmel Studio is literally filmed in a Masonic lodge. You can literally go to Hollywood and see, whatever, blah, 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 by the Masonic temple of whatever. It's literally on the Jimmy Kimmel show. He walks out of there, and he's smiling at first, and then the smile starts sinking away. And then he's walking down to a subway, and then he starts looking like scared, like literally terrified. And then all of a sudden, he's acting like something is talking to him or whatever, and then he's getting dragged by something, and then he pops up as if he's possessed by something, and then on to the next video. I won't spoil it for you guys who go in and watch it, but it gets darker and darker and darker. It just that whole thing just gets to a pretty creepy point towards the end. Tinder says there's theories that they use to be able to cure certain shit with frequencies like cancer. I think it's been a while since I've heard it being recorded. That stuff is true, and they mock things like that because they don't want anybody to actually use it and figure out that they might possibly, if you figure it out the perfect right way, that you might be able to solve some of these things. Um, I can't remember which scientist figured it out, but he figured out that some of the very large boulders, not boulders, but large rocks, which were used for building some of these temples. I think it's like Tibetan monks would like bring out these certain instruments, and they would literally play cymbals and different types of drums, and the vibrations would literally make these large giant stones like literally dance across the ground to get them in the place where they needed them instead of actually having to pick them up. So there is some science to some of this stuff. It's just a
Because
matter
think
of.
about it, if you bang on a table and there's an object on it, it's gonna make a noise and move.
Mm-hmm.
So same concept.
I mean, it's a lot. I say take a dive through some of my playlists and see what's in there and see if that might wake up something you guys have already known about and take it a little bit deeper. You guys might see some stuff that I haven't seen yet. Thomas says many of the elites do believe in the occult, like the Skull and Bones, Masons, and Illuminati. Some of it's disturbing. Bohemian Grove and Sonoma County. Somebody knows about that Alex Jones video and the
Look,
rituals.
one of
Uh,
my favorite artists, Marcus, has a line that says, he said he's talking about a girl. He said this girl got me harder than sneaking in Bohemian Grove.
well, here's something. Actually, yeah, I guess this will be my last point. Um, Everybody in the chat, if you are familiar with Bohemian Grove, give me a yes or a no. If I see a bunch of no's, then I will go in and try to explain quickly a little bit some facts about Bohemian Grove that you guys should know. Um, if it's a yes and everybody knows, then I won't waste the time going into it. Um, wow, it's only a few miles from you. Wow. Okay, yeah, yup. Somebody knows about Bohemian Grove. Nope, enlighten me. Okay, leave the sound. I was just using. They were. That is a fact. Um, a little bit of side information about Bohemian Grove. Almost every single one of the major world leaders before an election goes to Bohemian Grove. Kamala Harris has been there. Joe Biden has been there. Obama's been there. All of the top politicians, and not only American politicians, Macron, um, AMLO out of Mexico, a lot of Angela Merkel, a lot of them go down or up to it's north from me, go up to Bohemian Grove, and people they say, oh well, it's just the elites and they just have like wild orgies up there. Well, Alex Jones snuck in like years ago and recorded Bohemian Grove. They have like roughly it's like a 50-foot owl there, and they do what they call a mock sacrifice there of you know stabbing this this supposed woman who's covered up. Like they carry her out on this stretcher and they're chanting all this stuff. And in the ancient days, there was a god called a deity called uh, Baal, and they call this Baal worship. Um, Baal was a giant bull, and some of these cultures have kind of mixed Baal along with the owl and these things. Baal, the giant bull, as it was represented in ancient Mesopotamia, it was completely made out of like iron, and it would have its hands out like this, and they would set fires up under it, and they would sacrifice their babies to Baal. This is something that literally used to happen in the ancient days. So this is it starts getting kind of dark when you get yes. Sounds very Kubricky. Yes, it is. And he was trying to hint some stuff in that movie Eyes Wide Shut, which a lot of people don't know. A lot of that movie is edited out too. Yes, but the orgies with who and what ages. I do know that they bring in legal adult prostitutes, male and female, but I wouldn't be surprised if other age groups might be involved. That's all I'll say. But I guess that's probably a good enough note to leave it on. I guess um, I guess next week we should probably talk a little bit more about. You know what? That's what we'll do. We'll talk a little bit about Illuminati and some of those things. Illuminati with
I see we're taking on a little bit of a darker tone, but I'm with it.
I mean, it is something that's going on. It is
It
something
seems
that
like
I've
the
done.
show. It seems like the show decides the topics for us, not the other way
Yeah,
around.
the show decides the topic. I mean, hey, we just go where the flow goes. I mean, I study. I used to literally just spend hours a day studying all
But
kinds of different crap. And
but
so I
even
have so
talking
much stuff.
about the but Marcus, even talking about the Illuminati, even our understanding of that has changed because I remember back 2010, 2011, we thought Kanye and Jay-Z were Illuminati.
They
Come
are,
to find out, well,
but they're not. See, what people gotta understand is, um, Illuminati at this point now is completely intertwined with Masons. They're completely intertwined with a lot of the black sororities. Um, and the thing about it is, most people are like 90, I'd say 98% of people who are tied in to Masonic groups. And what are some of the other one like? How come I can't think of the names of the groups right now? Um, because some of these religious organizations they still literally use the what is it called shoot, hold on a second. I got a folder in here of just random stuff I haven't looked at in probably about a year. But I have like I have so much of this stuff stored literally in my phone. Illuminati. I gotta find some of these names of. Okay, here we go. Yes, because now you have. I won't say that one yet. I'll say that later. I'll save that one for later. But where is the one I wanted to go into? It starts going into all of these different other secret organizations outside of the Masons and what are they called? It's a couple of like your Knights of Columbus and CFR, the Council of Rome, Council of 300. It's a huge organization where it's levels to all of this stuff, and I've literally heard from 32nd degree Masons, which have told me, yeah, if you have the money, yeah, or you donate this or donate that, they automatically just throw you right at like 32nd degree Mason, which for those who don't know, 33 is the highest so-called level. There are levels that go above that. And so once you get to that level up there, that's when you start getting involved in some of the understanding of what is actually really going on. You know, if you don't have millions of dollars and all that, you're never even gonna get close to sniffing what the hell any of it's really about. But they also look for people who are not abreast in religious studies, and it's a reason why. Because then you start seeing stuff that's like, wait a minute, I don't really want to touch that. Um, yeah, it's I can't believe I can't. What is it? Scottish rites? I can't remember what it's called. Knights of Malta. It's a bunch of different lodges and stuff which carry over from these different groups. Yes, they use Jay Z, Beyonce, but I think it makes them feel special. What it is they use these different artists and put the messaging in their music, and whatever that message that they choose to push. I'm not gonna go in and specify at this point, but they choose to push certain messages and they encode it, in different ways. And sometimes it's a message to tell other Illuminati people. Sometimes it's something that they subliminally want to get across to us. So if they want all of us to, start being a little bit more whorish, you know, being more promiscuous, being less
That
promiscuous, use
I
more
think it's more
drugs,
promiscuous.
all of those things that they use it through that repetitive programming through the music. Like, was it whatchamacallit says it in one of his songs. Kanye. He said, what does he say? At least he said, yeah, I sold my soul and it was a crappy deal, but at least I
But
got
it
some
came with a
toys
few
like a
toys
happy
like a
meal.
Happy Meal.
Yeah.
He said, I
That's
sold my soul to the devil was a crappy deal. It came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
He has a video where he's cutting a demon like out of his chest. They're not making all these videos for no damn reason. And you're
If
not
you
gonna have hundreds of
actually,
celebrities
if
all
you
doing
watch
it.
his in 2010, he did like for the album, he made like a movie with the album, and it
Mhm.
goes through all the songs, and it's like a phoenix bird that falls out of the sky, who he falls in love with, who he ended up chasing in the woods, and that's when his song "I'm Lost in the World" comes on. And that was
Mm-hmm.
around the time they were saying he was Illuminati and devil worshipping.
I mean, Jay Z has a song. I guess it's the last one I'll end it on because I said myself I needed to wrap it up almost 20 minutes ago. I know Tender needs to get out of here. I know Caitlin needs to get out of here. I know we all need to get out of here. But the last one I'll finish with Jay Z. One of the songs I used to love. He has a song called Lucifer.
Oh,
Um,
dun, dun, dun,
Lucifer,
dun, dun,
Dawn of the
Lucifer, son
Morning.
of the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
Hey, Kanye did the beat. Kanye did the beat.
um,
This is
we'll go more into this next week, but I'll have some of my notes prepared for you all, so you guys can see. But yeah, I'm so glad you guys all came and tuned in. Make sure you tell everybody that we're gonna try for Sundays. I feel like that way I'm not rushing home and doing all this stuff, and you know. But yeah, we're gonna try for Sundays. Maybe this time,
a little bit
maybe
earlier
a
than
little
we
bit
started
earlier.
tonight.
Yeah, we might get started maybe a little bit earlier next week. That way we have a little bit more time to kind of just go through some stuff. Got a compliment there. Yes, we all gonna be
Thanks for
dragging
now.
over that tomorrow. But yeah, I'm so glad you guys all stopped in. Thank you for dragging the conversation in this area. I mean, sometimes it's better when I don't know which way it's gonna go because then you guys get to hear some of what I really talk about. And I'm not penciled into certain things. But yeah, got a lot of stuff which we can really, really dig into, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. But yes, also make sure to check out my playlist. The stuff that I have in there, I got a lot of shit in there. And some of this stuff, I will make sure that I unlock it so you guys can see more of the stuff in there. Some things I do have locked for a reason. Some of it just because it might be a little bit abrasive and offensive to some people. So I have to tune it down and go through it. But yeah, definitely check out that info. You guys have Jay, you got anything that you want to say before we get out of here?
I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming tonight. It was a little short notice after we had the episode on Monday, but I enjoyed doing this with you guys. It's a lot of fun, and let's just keep our minds going.
All right, yes, definitely enjoyed it. Thank you all. You all have a safe, wonderful, fun week.
I
Caitlin,
know everyone's hitting their beds as soon as this ends.
yeah, Caitlin, I got that the tides video. I just gotta finish editing. That will probably drop tomorrow on my Hebrew Apologetics page. It's some funny clips in there. Also, I go into some actual Bible verses. Got my Bible right here. I have a lot of notes in there, so it gets interesting, and I go into a lot of stuff. So with that said, thank you all for joining. You all have a wonderful evening. Sweet dreams to those going to sleep. Nice bon appetit to those who are going to eat. And have a great week, everyone. Guys, have
All
a good
right,
one.
peace
Love
out,
you all.
y'all. Peace out.